life isn't fair, right? And the history books are written by the winners at the end of the day. But I try to be fair. I don't know if I'm obsessed with it, but I think fair, natural competition is a great way to build. So I was a real estate broker only with a team from 2008 to 2020. COVID hit and I hunkered down with a core group of people and we started Serhant, and we announced it in September 2020, and Barbara Corcoran reached out and said, "You're crazy, but genius move." And she's been a great advisor to me over the years. And I asked her, like, okay, it's COVID. New York City is having a hard time. Florida is great. Texas, great. New York City, not so much at the moment. What's the best piece of advice you could give me as we're building something from scratch, something that's pretty disruptive, maybe not everyone will understand it? And she said, be too busy to fail. That is rung through my head every day, right? It's in my calendar, it's everywhere. So, spend more time looking forward than looking to the side or looking back, I think is what it means. The idea is to have as many balls in the air as possible. And if you have the systems and process underneath to catch the majority, then you want to be busy. You want to be doing different types of business and different types of market and growing your teams. And I tell every agent that works with us, like, you're not a realtor, you're a brand. You wake up a brand, you don't wake up a broker. And if you do that right, you can build an enterprise, whether it's you and a VA or you and a team of 100. And your ability to do that today is way better than it was even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You've had some tech CEOs on stage, and I love that they don't talk about technology, so I will. AI is definitely very on trend at the moment, but I think there's a confusion as to what AI actually is. It's like when we talk about computer science, there's lots of different forms of computer science. Artificial intelligence, by true definition, doesn't actually exist yet. We're getting closer, for better or for worse, but this isn't Ex Machina, right? This isn't Terminator 2. It's not Westworld yet. But artificial intelligence, as we're talking about it now, has existed for a long time. Whether you're in Gmail and you're talking, you're typing, and it completes the sentence for you, or Siri or Alexa, or throwback to AskJeeves.com. It was a natural language processor where you could ask a question, and by understanding text, right, and using probability theory, the machine could tell you what you might be thinking your answer might be. And now we have GPT, and everyone's excited about replacing everything and everybody, and no one's going to write anything anymore, and artists are going to be gone forever. But what AI actually is today, which is exciting, is language probability, right? And using language probability factors over words and word sequences, which I get excited about for what we call at Serhant, right, artificial agent intelligence, to enable us to remove 60% of the administrative tasks that agents do. Like, things are still so manual. Like right now, every agent in this room, if you have an assistant, great, they're gonna do it all for you. That's still really manual. Otherwise, you think you might be using tech, but what you're really using, right, is a system created to enable clicks. And you're clicking to create that postcard. You're clicking to create that e-blast. But imagine a world in which you could just type or speak, right, to your generator that says, can you please send an e-blast for 244 Mulberry Street to everyone that owns an apartment over $1 million on the Upper East Side? And then it just happens. And it's at no additional cost to you. You're not paying an assistant or a VA. I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier. Like, if you look at GPT-3, it uses 175 billion factors. And the reason it's so interesting is because you type, and what it's learning from you is based off of every piece of text put onto the internet ever. That's what it knows. And so it's a natural language processor that way that uses predictability to try to understand what you want to say. And it learns every day, every second as we go on. And I think a lot of people in this room are probably already doing it. It's like, oh, I don't have to sit down and write a listing description anymore, right? I need to write a tough email to a seller. Can you at least give me the form that I can then edit and put into my own words? And I think it's exciting. You just have to learn how to use it to your benefit, right? And whatever fear you have, right? Fear is like gasoline. It can either burn your house down, right? Or it can heat your house and it can fuel your car and power you to move forward. I mean, my goal is to be better than everyone else on everything forever. And so, otherwise, why do it? You know? Why do it? I'm the person that no one ever thought we would be having this conversation about. And I appreciate that very, very much, right? I was butt naked on TV many, many years ago. And now we're running a much bigger company that's growing every day. And so we have a virtual world called Universe that we created to enable our teams to expand, really, first and foremost, right? You have phase 1, you have phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is teams for expansion, so that you can create a culture that isn't dictated by where you live. And so, if we are headquartered in New York, but you're an agent with us in Pennsylvania or North Carolina or Nashville, you shouldn't then feel bad because, you have team members here, you're all in one playing field, right? Phase 2 is then data integration, where you can then start using that space the same way you would be using your dashboard on Microsoft or on your Apple computer. Phase 3 is then client integration, where you can start selling actual properties virtually and doing it just much faster. You sold a townhouse in October, 36 East 68th Street for $57 million to a South African guy over FaceTime. It's in the Wall Street Journal and everything, but imagine how much faster I could have done that through a virtual world interface. Like, that really excites me. Really, like, the underlying effort for me behind, actually, like, how many people in this room consider yourselves a real estate agent? There's like one hand. What do you all do? Who are you people?
Yeah, I'm fascinated too.
Wait, put your hands up higher. What is it, early? What's going on? Okay, so a good chunk of people. So serious question. For everyone in this room who's a real estate agent, how many of you are in a wheelchair? 0. The real estate agency business is the least inclusive business, right? And so something that I'm really, very emotionally attached to is, how do we take this business that for so long has only applied to people with 2 arms, 2 legs, and oftentimes a personality, right? And really open it up to an amazing world of people who have felt discriminated against. And it's not just race, right? It's not just gender. It's military veterans, it's quadriplegics, right? It's amputees at birth. Through a virtual workspace, you can be whoever you want at any time, anywhere, and sell to anyone on any device. And like that, for me, if I can make a business impact with Serhant while also making like a true social impact that changes lives for people, gets me worked up, but it's like, it's a big push for us. I think the company, right, the people, the energy is the heart of that culture, and it can exist virtually. And I think to think that Generation Alpha is going to grow up and want to work in the real estate business, to go work in an office for culture, go sit with any 12-year-old right now. Where are their friends? Their friends are in a screen. Their friends are in a screen, and they leave that screen on because it makes them feel less lonely, right? A lot of us are by ourselves. Even if you're on a team, you see other agents, they do deals. Why couldn't I do that? You're nervous about money, you're nervous about taxes, you're nervous about the market, right? What's happening? If Amazon's laying off 18,000 people, should I be concerned about people buying and selling homes? What does 2023 even mean for us? It can be a very lonely and insulating business. And a big part of my mission in life is to completely change that. And I think through virtual workspaces like what we've built and are continuing to iterate on, enable people to have culture 24/7 and be a part of something bigger, even if you're not in a fucking office. I think this year is going to be okay. Everything that we are looking at, like January has been super, very busy. Contracts are up. Contracts Q4, New York City alone, we're down by over 60%, right? So there was a cliff. but now we're crawling out of it, and I think that's okay. I don't know yet whether we're in the eye of the storm for rates or not, but I think where there's a will, there's a way, and the system is built in such a way that we want to do more business. You know, banks want us to borrow money, right? The government wants us to spend money so that we can spend tax dollars. So they're always going to find a way to make everything okay. And so I think 2023 isn't going to be amazing, but I don't think it's going to be awful. I think it's going to be nice and volatile, which is great for everyone in this room. Because when the market's like this, one side of the deal is difficult. When the market's like this, one side of the deal is difficult. And also, when markets are like this, companies get invented that should not get invented. And then they crash and burn, right? I'm excited to see who lives. It's like Survivor this year, right? It's like real estate Survivor, like who's gonna make it? Because the ones who will make it will stand the test of time, and volatility is a great way to show your value to clients, because you can't just stick something on the internet and have it sell in an hour anymore, at least in most markets, unless you're in Florida. You lucky people.
And on that note, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. How was it?
Give you guys a chance to respond.
Probability of landing.
Did I sound smart?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They haven't had a chance to respond.